Welcome back. You're still tuned in to News and Views on myself, Salailo Makudio. The time is 8:50, so 10 minutes before the hour 9 Central African time. And we're going to be switching gears now to the continent of Africa on our hashtag Africa feature. Over the past few weeks, we've seen a wave of diplomatic ruptures shaping the global stage. South Africa's fallout with the United States, I think at this point we can all agree, over Gaza has drew much of the headlines. But now Uganda has turned its diplomatic crosshairs towards Germany. Uganda's military has accused the German ambassador, Matthias Schauer, of subversive activities, leading the suspension of military cooperation between Kampala and Berlin. No concrete evidence has yet been presented, and Germany has called the allegations baseless and absurd. But this is not happening in isolation. The German ambassador has recently been seen engaging with opposition figures in Uganda, including members of the National Unity Platform, led by Bobi Wine. As we explore the story, the real questions arise. Is this an assertion of national sovereignty or a smokescreen for silencing external scrutiny of an increasingly authoritarian state? And to help us unpack these dynamics, I'm joined by Musinguzi Goodluck, a good friend of the show, a journalist and editor with Kigezi News, reporting live from Kampala. And he's going to be giving us some clarity on this. Musinguzi, thank you so much for joining us. Always a pleasure. Welcome to Salam Media. And looking forward to, I think, an insightful discussion on this very, very important topic.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be on the show. And it's always an opportunity to be part of you, as really you lead the global core, especially to support those who are in need. And I feel it's personal. It comes to my heart.
No, definitely. The pleasure's all ours. I want to start with, framing this diplomatic fallout between Uganda and Germany. If you can just start with, the clarity. What exactly are Uganda's accusations against the German ambassador, and has any evidence been made public to support this claim of subversive activity, which is essentially, being in cahoots with those that are trying to overthrow the legitimate state of Uganda, which has been voted in democratically by the people?
Thank you very much. Our cooperation between Uganda and Germany, from what I gather, started in 1964. It has been on for some time, and it also becomes a bit stronger with the European Union. When you remember, if I can take you back a little, when we had the Arab Spring in the north of Africa, I think there was a wave of some other people also saying this wave should come down and change leadership for those countries that have presidents that have been on for so many years. And therefore, Uganda has been kind of a target. Actually, the last ambassador of the United States of America had come from Tunis, if I have the fact, but around that area. And one of the things was that she had come to shape the opposition here to make sure that they change the leadership of President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, which is going to make almost 40 years. And she was always seen and all those things, whatever she was doing, funding. But we went through it. And I remember the last time when we were having this government swearing in, she really felt that it's like they were showing that we knew whatever you are doing. Now, of recent, the German, you talked of the evidence. Yes, there is audios which have been released in the public between the ambassador and Bobi Wine, or the leading opposition figure. And if you can also go backwards, we have another who used to be a leading opposition figure, Dr. Kizza Besigye, in prison. Also, audios came out when he was in Nairobi, trying to source for arms, and especially insisting that from what we had in the audio, that's what I'm quoting, that they were looking at drones to hit some helicopters and some of these things. And therefore, Uganda finds itself in that situation. And therefore, if what the public or the outside world says that the altercations came because of the social media outbursts and the recent meeting in Gulu of European Union ambassadors, I can also take you back again in 2021. The European Union was running a basket fund called Democratic Governance Fund, DGF, and it had almost $100 million. And as we went on with the elections, the state says, you could see that they said that the money was being used to fund those who are against it, instead of maybe promoting cooperation and development. And the fund had to be closed. And of recent, when you see you say it being closed, and what eventually has come out that they were funding, change of regimes. For example, here they were funding the gay movement and all that, and of that bill or the law that really put us into collision with most of the Western world. And therefore, for me, that's the background I can give. To us, the common people, I don't know. I haven't seen so much of German, but through GIZ, they promote, they fund a few things, agriculture, other things. But the real military cooperation I think we have had is the support of the German government through Somalia, supporting UPDF in Somalia. And therefore, if German is suspended, I don't know whether the larger European Union will get out. But apparently, using whatever technology, they have put the audios of the German ambassador, and he has not come out to say that is not me. But if you can listen to the other person he's talking to, the voice is a bit of familiar. Yeah.
I want to touch on your primary point before you got to this one. How significant is the suspension of military cooperation between Uganda and Germany, both symbolically and practically? What elements do you look at and say, the German military has been outstanding and forthcoming when it comes to supporting Uganda. We know some of the activities that happen, especially when you move, further east into the continent, and some of the threats that are posed in that part of the world. Is this going to impact Uganda negatively? Are you going to see, little holes and pockets of some of the I don't want to say failures, but shortcomings of the Ugandan military showing up if you would have Germany and the EU pull out of this military cooperation?
I think like South Africa is facing a backlash over Gaza and all those other things. Uganda over the time has been clear regarding Palestine and regarding the East. And therefore, Uganda prepared, I think, so many years ago, very early. Because I think the president and whoever sits between them, for example, in 2011, Uganda took a bold step to buy fighter jets from the East. That's Russia. And those jets and the subsequent arms that came from that side have been the cornerstone of ensuring that this region doesn't get consumed by fire. Because from DRC, Burundi, Rwanda, Southern Sudan, so you still have Uganda just holding in there. So I really don't think Uganda, because even when you see the backlash that came with the gay bill, as everyone was tightening a loose around Uganda, Uganda was not scared. Actually, they prepared. They even said, "Take away the money, and we will not die." And therefore, as we speak, Uganda is with China, is with Russia, and the cooperation seemed to be that deep. But even when the Western world, for example, is working with the Israelis, but still you find Uganda has been steadfast on some of these issues. And therefore, in the bigger geopolitics of the world, Uganda recently joined the BRICS, and therefore it seems they have been preparing for so many years because they tended to see the West the way it was behaving. And sometimes when the president here used to speak about some of these things until the recent, you said, expose, you'd think maybe the West, he's having a conflict with them because he has overstayed in power and these guys want him out. But Uganda is on a firm stand with the East, and therefore whether Germany withdraws everything, I don't think significant. Even us, maybe the common people on the roads, I mean, when we're in Kampala or across the country, I don't see so much of German here that we would. The European Union has been constructing one of the roads on the northern bypass of Kampala for over 14 years. And people have been criticizing them here and there. But when you look at the recent current trade statistics, Uganda has an upper hand with the European Union. But also, if you also go back, they refused to support the oil discovery and eventually building of an airport and building of a refinery. All their banks stopped funding us, and this process is going on. And therefore, I don't know whether German, because the last one or two ambassadors before this one, he even came and became a citizen of Uganda. He's actually one of the advisors of the president. And therefore, so I mean, every help that comes, every dollar that comes from a friend is welcome and does something. But also when you see what is happening in Burkina Faso, South Africa, elsewhere.
Muziguzi, you're encroaching a bit, I think, on my next question, and I would like us to touch on it a bit after the break, because I wanted to talk about the timing of this, just to contextualize the timing, because as you mentioned, this comes just weeks after a very, very heated diplomatic confrontation between South Africa and the United States. You also mentioned what's currently happening in Burkina Faso. And the French also. So I want to expand on that. Are we seeing a broader trend of African countries, dare I say, pushing back against perceived Western interference? But we'll chat on that after the short break.
Thank
you. This is Salam Media.
The kitchen, the heart of the home, where memories are made and celebrated. Our go-to place for those freshly stacked pancakes early in the morning or for that late-night snack munchies. We are in there together, cooking, eating, and celebrating life together. Let's keep the kitchen a place that is shared by everyone, where we build stronger bonds and grow together. Sunfoil, Now We Cooking. Visit nowwecooking.co.za for recipes that everyone can help make.
In South Africa, countless numbers of sick patients leave their homes at the crack of dawn to join long queues at clinics and public hospitals, many of them suffering pangs of hunger in addition to the symptoms of disease. The Al Imdad Foundation's Slice for Life teams deliver sandwiches to these patients at more than 40 hospitals and clinics across the country. Help us to keep on relieving hunger. Donate online at alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243 for more information.
World-class financial services only at Sapphire Global, your financial partner. If you are looking for Islamic Sharia and ethical financial products, look no further. Sapphire Global offers a wide range of financial service offerings from short-term to life and investments. A full-service center with all financial requirements under one brand. Our highly skilled and experienced consultants are ready to help protect your financial future. Contact us on 041 001 0184 or visit our website on www.sapphireglobalfs.com. Sapphire Global is an authorized financial services provider.
Operation Kurbani Maulana Timor will once again be taking a trip abroad for Kurbani. Many people in the villages live well below the poverty line and only eat meat on the days of Eid al-Adha. Support this cause at 2,100 Rand for 7 shares or 300 Rand per share. Contact Maulana Timor, Maulana Sajjad, Maulana Hamad or Maulana Abbad on 011 852 6324 or 072 299 9268 or 082 368 6866 or 072 697 0131 or 073 576 9786. All slaughtering will be supervised by a team of foreign and local ulama. Visit www.operationkurbani.org.za.
Hey Gulam.
Yeah?
Did I return your lawnmower last month?
No, bye, you didn't.
Oh no. Now what'll I do? I wanted to borrow it again, man.
With Randry Jewelers, you won't have to borrow or lend because the prices are so well trimmed on all gold and diamond jewelry. Alternatively, we could remake your old jewelry into a brilliant new design. Visit Randry Jewelers at 151 Stevens Lamini Road, Musgrave, Durban. Randry Jewelers, the family name you can trust.
Penny Appeal's Education First campaign helps children to get access to quality education.
I'm 14 years old. When I grow up, I'd like to be a scientist.
We believe every child belongs at school,
And we want education, a better education.
learning and dreaming their way to a better future. With your help, we can provide classrooms, desks, stationery packs, and school shoes. Help make these dreams a reality. Visit www.pennyappeal.org.za or call 031 1100 573. Penny Appeal. Small change, big difference.
Connect and stay ahead with Salam Media. This is Salam Media coming to you live from South Africa.
Welcome back. You're still tuned in to News and Views of myself, Salaila Makudi. At the time is 8 minutes past 9 Central African time. And we're still having a very, very important conversation with a very, very good friend of the station, Musunguzi Goodluck, a journalist and editor with Kigezi News out in Kampala. And we're talking about this new wave of diplomatic raptures that seem to be shaping the global stage. I touched a bit on South Africa that, we are currently going through our own issues with the United States of America. Very, very highly published and a very highly contentious issue. But there's one that seems to be emerging from our neighbors to the east of Africa, Uganda, which has turned its diplomatic crosshairs towards Germany. And we're unpacking all of that with Goodluck. And he's giving us a bit more insight because he's right there. He's in Uganda. He's in Kampala. He's giving us all that we need to know between Germany and Uganda and this diplomatic fallout, I think we can call it that. Musunguzi, before we went to that short break, I wanted to chat briefly, I think, on a subject that you encroached just a bit, what we're seeing here between Uganda and Germany comes, as I mentioned, just weeks after the diplomatic confrontation between South Africa and the United States of America. You mentioned also what's happening with Ibrahim Traore, Burkina Faso, and the French. are we seeing a broader trend of African countries pushing back against perceived Western interferences? And is this a phenomenon that you see spreading, throughout the whole continent of Africa? And should it be a one that is appreciated, or should it be one that is taken with a bit of caution? Because as much as we want to claim African sovereignty, as much as we want to claim, Africa being, the new cornerstone of development in the world, I think we can't be ignorant enough by not admitting the powers that some of these former colonial countries still wield on the African continent, and how severing ties with them might have implications that are not so palatable for the people of Africa and our very, very fragile economies.
Thank you very much. If I want to use two scenarios of the late Colonel Gaddafi, Muammar Gaddafi of Libya, when he was killed by NATO and other forces, and then also the colonial era, where Africa never protected itself. Africa, the leaders were enticed by these small things, the beads, the glasses, and all those sorts of things. And the colonial masters, or the Europeans who were looking for resources, came and infiltrated us. And they eventually went. And I can remember I studied in a place called Masaka, where the South African students, or those who were part of the fighting group, were studying. I still remember that very well. And therefore, Africa must wake up to one day and ask, if we were to be attacked, how can we protect ourselves? If they can do it to South Africa, if they did it in Libya, if they have done it elsewhere, whom are they coming for? And therefore, you can see that Africa, from the time when Muammar Gaddafi, with all the plans that he had, and maybe with also the problems he had, that today when you look at Libya, that each country must wake up and say, do we trust these guys? Are they for us? Or eventually, when they support one group to destroy the other. I mean, yesterday I saw a picture when Liverpool was celebrating. Somebody brings a vehicle and starts sweeping people. And you ask yourself, okay, what is this anger that is there? And therefore, so Africa must know that protecting itself can never lie with anyone. Nobody will protect you. If they come, they have come. Because when you see, and we are waiting for those files on Libya really to be made public, especially around what Hillary Clinton did. And therefore, you can see there are examples that show our friends in these other countries have not been meaning good for Africa. And for me, as a person, I don't think that we have anything to lose, because either way, we have seen so much. They have the slave trade, you know what happened, the humiliation of our people. Though for me, I still believe that we are one continent, we are one world. We need to work together. We need to find a way. But if that cannot come, what happens? If your friend, I remember I was in Joburg and Soweto and all those places, but there are times they would say, don't move alone at this time when you are not sure. And we would build groups, you get. So it's a decision that you have to make. If you move in the night and you have issues, you don't have to blame the person who told you. Somebody will say, but we told you. And therefore, Africa has seen the trend. If you can see the mineral rights that is being discussed by the DRC and the US, and it's essentially kicking out other African countries. So you can really see that Africa has what the world needs. And the world says we will come in not as equals, but we will come in as bullies to put you where you are. anyway. We did it so many years ago as colonialists. We did it even when Gaddafi seemed to be having a good plan. We killed him. And so who are you, the others? And so for me, if that is the trend, then Africa has a reason. And I could have had our president at one point asking the African leaders that if today you had a bigger challenge, can you protect yourselves? Because you even know that even you as a man in your home, me and you, if a lion comes, you will not tell your wife, go out and fight that lion. They will say, Daddy or Mr. or somebody, please, father of the home, we have been attacked. What can you do? And therefore, if you run out and go under the bed and you let the family vulnerable to those attacks, I don't know what the world should talk about you. And so with the BRICS, with what you can see, Africa is trying to say, really, who are our friends? During COVID, you saw, when the drugs were not enough, people still showed that they will still look inwards before they look at Africa. And therefore, Africa, the problem is when we over-politicize everything, when you have to listen as if politics moves us. No, politics doesn't feed us. What feeds us is us, the people the farmers who wake up every day to go and dig, who provide us with the food, the good weather, all that we have. If we focused on that one, but also buying a spear for your home, knowing that your home is out there in the wild, you are alone, and you don't buy spears and bows to protect your home, it's also bad. So for me, when you see what I was seeing on TV with the president of South Africa and the president of the US, it should tell us. But these things have been coming. It has been coming. It is only us that we kept saying those ones, they are better than us. And when you keep telling a lion that you are better, it will take the other one to take the following one. It will come for you. So, and I wanted to put this in context that while our president is phasing out with his leadership, the new leaders, maybe talk of his son and the others who are around, maybe some of these young people are not going to say, they are not going to really take on diplomacy, massaging a problem until when the problem comes to consume. I mean, as Uganda, when they humiliate President Ramaphosa, if you were Uganda and you keep saying, oh, they will not come for me, you are lying. South Africa is seen in the global face. You see what is happening in the DRC. Where are we going? You see Burkina Faso. If those threats about that young officer, the president, if he was to be killed today, if he was to die for goodness' sake, it means they are coming for everybody, for everyone and everybody. And therefore, Africa has to make a decision. But for me, I find that what divides us is much more than what should unite and say today. You remember we had issues with Sudan when Kony was here and the ADF until when that president left. But now see Sudan had military capabilities, but now it has been reduced to ruins. So if Uganda is really watching with a keen eye, whether you bring in issues of human rights and these other issues, of course they must be listened to. Nobody should use a government that because you are pushing for African voice and maybe you push others away. No. But in the broader perspective is that when the solutions cannot come from Africa, but we must keep getting orders from those capitals, then the humiliation is not going to start today, it's not going to end tomorrow, but one, they will come and consume us.
No, definitely, definitely. You spoke of a new breed of African leaders that are emerging. And you touched a bit on General Muhoozi Kainerugaba. He's the president's son. Yoweri Museveni's son, and he's also made some of most direct statements against the ambassador of Germany. How central is he becoming in Uganda's foreign and domestic power plays? Is this part of his succession strategy? Are we preparing for a new Ugandan president?
I think I don't want to be part of the discussion of saying he's preparing. I think the general has been, he's been leading us. And therefore, to those who still think that they are waiting for another election or 23rd or whatever, they are leaving him today. He is around. He heads the military. But not only that, he's a special advisor, something. He's working on so much. If you can see the deployment of Uganda People's Defense Forces soldiers in the... I mean, would we have Southern Sudan now? If he's the one who made that decision, and there is an instrument the president signed, essentially transferring power to him. But because our people sometimes tend to be overtaken by small things, and they and that's what I was saying. When you keep saying the lion, you keep talking about something you haven't seen, but yet when the thing is just near you. So he has been around. He's 50 years, for goodness' sake, and therefore for me, I can say General Muhoozi has been a co-president, especially in this term that we are ending, but even before. So to those who are a bit young and look at things differently, they think this is a new man. No, he's not. Actually, for me, if I was to look backwards, I see him the days, especially when we had problems with Rwanda. You could see he was a shadow, and not recent. We have had issues with Rwanda so many years, like 20 years ago. This man has been in the shadows doing all sorts of things. Now, him coming to use social media, I think let me say this last, is that if he came as a normal person, diplomatic person, I think nobody would even be caring about him. I think he chose to use that side of tickling the social media and putting those controversial posts, and that now everybody is saying, hey, wait a minute, there is this man. But for me, as a person who has been in media now coming 30 years, I can assure you that this man has been around. Those who are seeing him being the president, I don't know what do they want. See how he moves, the power he has, the resources at his disposal, the decisions he make. I think for me, I'm leaving his presidency, not waiting for it. Yeah.
Well, there you go. I think we're going to leave it on that note. Musinguzi, thank you so much for joining us. Always a pleasure to have you on the show to give us the latest coming out of Uganda and out of the East African region. Really, really appreciate it, and looking forward to chat to you in the not so distant future.
Thank you very much.
There you go. There is Musinguzi. Good luck coming to us live from Kampala. And yeah, as he's speaking, I think what I'm gathering from him is that, folks, as the diplomatic dust swirls, between Uganda and Germany, one thing is crystal clear. Africa is no longer anyone's chessboard. So from Kampala to Kinshasa, from Pretoria, even Accra, there's a new generation of leaders. There's a new generation of thinkers and citizens that is rising, and they're rising with one resounding message. Africa will not be dictated to, especially not by foreign ambassadors. It will not be dictated to by, geopolitical agendas dressed up as cooperation. So because we don't want your new piece of technology, with ramifications on our own security, us saying it possibly won't even play out the way that we want it to be. It's it's concerning. It's concerning that because we don't want your Starlink, and we're saying, well, for you to have this thing here, you need to abide by the laws that we have. Every other multinational company has. Microsoft has. They came here to South Africa just this year and said, we'll be investing millions and millions in this country. Amazon is also investing very, very heavily in our country, and they've all agreed to the terms and conditions. So people that come with geopolitical agendas, and then when we say, well, we're not going to play ball with you because we have a mission here on the African continent, in South Africa, we have a mission of redress. You might not agree with it, but we have a mission of redress. We have BEE. And for you to bring whatever you want to bring into this country, here are our terms and conditions, and you must abide by them. And then, well, white genocide and 100 and I don't know how many racial laws. And why can't you work in South Africa as a South African who's born here, but is not allowed to do business here because of the color of your... It's not because of color of your skin. It's because of the mission that we have here. We are trying to reclaim our sovereignty as Africa. Not just over our land, and this is speaking from a South African point of view, but over our politics, over our resources, and most importantly, over our voice. And the signs are there. It's starting to show throughout the continent of Africa. Uganda is showing it. Burkina Faso is showing it. Here in South Africa, we would like to do more to show it that the days of quiet compliance are over. Africa does want to dialogue. Africa will try to dialogue. But we want to do it on our own terms. We want to engage, but we don't want to be owned. This continent is not for sale. And this continent and this country of ours, it's not for sabotage. White genocide. What do you think? Are we witnessing a new African assertiveness? Is Uganda also joining the fray? Of African leaders, African countries that are saying we have a way of doing things here in the continent, and for a very long time we've been bending and trying to shapeshift to suit the narrative of the Western agenda because, well, we need you more than you need us. I can tell you for free, the world needs the continent. If the world didn't need Africa, there wouldn't be so much focus on it. We should be a forgotten people. But you can see how when we speak, they shake. Because they understand the power that this continent has. But it's up to us to realize that same power. Check out the German ambassador, and the whole country is now losing its mind because Uganda is showing them the door. President Cyril Ramaphosa had a whole audience at the White House. Only the third or fourth president since, Donald Trump 2.0 to be invited to the White House or to seek an audience with the White House and actually be granted it. It's because they know and understand the power that we have. Sure, they can threaten isolating us. They can threaten sanctions. They can threaten all kinds of nonsense. But ultimately, when it's all said and done, the world needs Africa. You can engage with us. What do you think? Are we witnessing a new African assertiveness, or is this simply more of the same dressed in military rhetoric? Send us your thoughts on our WhatsApp line. You can also drop us a voice note or engage with us on our social media pages using the hashtag news and views. Let's continue the conversation because Africa is awake and Africa is starting to speak. And the world will listen. News and views will be back after this.